Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We've done a lot of videos in the past about renewals and why we are trying to focus so much on getting tenants to re-sign new leases to prevent losses and whatnot for you. But the flip side of that is what we're dealing with right now in our busiest season, and that is turnovers and vacancies. So today we wanted to do a little video about what is our turnover process? What do we do? Why is it the heaviest lifting that we have in property management? So without further ado, Molly here to tell us all about what she does during a turnover. So, Molly, when does the turnover process start on a property?
So it starts with the notice by the previous tenants. Once we get that 30-day notice, we have it on our radar. We, at that point, look at the mid-lease inspection again to see if we're going to be expecting anything out of the ordinary. So yeah, that's when it starts. Then we go to actual day of vacancy. At that point, we do an inspection, ideally on that first day of vacancy. At that, we will have already had cleaners on deck, carpet cleaning already scheduled, but on those days, we do need to get a maintenance punch list. At that point, we would know exactly how long that process was going to take, or if there is anything out of the ordinary that we need to talk with you about, like projects or deferred maintenance at that point.
Yeah. So in all honesty, if we get into a property and let's say that the tenant moves out a few days early, we're inspecting that property earlier than the vacate date.
That would be the most ideal process.
Yeah.
So we don't have so many on day one. But, and then at that point, that particular vacancy is going to get pushed up to be put back on the market sooner.
And to try to minimize those vacant days.
Right.
How often should the owners expect to hear from us?
So initially with the turnover, if you don't hear from us, it's probably great news.
No news is good news if you have that inspection that's clean.
Right. Yep. I mean, and we'll reach out and say, hey, it looks good. Our goal is a 7 to 10 day turnover at the very most. Now there's going to be times where that isn't going to be possible, but you would likely hear from us once we start re-renting or remarketing the property. Anything above that, if there's, we need to repaint because the paint's quite a few years old, or hey, the carpet wasn't changed the last go around, it's been a few years, we'll reach out to you then and kind of decide how we want to go.
Well, and kind of what you hit on before too is that a lot of these things we know ahead of time because of that preventative maintenance inspection. So if you have a property that a tenant has lived in for 3 years and we know that the last 3 turnovers, carpet wasn't replaced, we're going to see that on the mid-lease inspection, and we're going to note that, hey, this carpet is 10 years old or 7 or whatever it is, and we'll reach out ahead of time.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that insight. Are there other items that we can educate our listeners about in terms of how the sausage is made during property management turnover season?
Sure. So while the unit is vacant and during the turnover, we do market it at that point. At that point, within 30 days, we do the dispositions of those deposits to, recoup, wear and tear versus damages caused by the previous tenant. We also are actively showing the listings, and we do monitor the vacant units as well. We go by, at least somebody has eyes on it
frequently,
quite frequently. And I mean, in an ideal world, we get it rented within,
the first week.
That first week. Sometimes that's not the case, but I think, after that, we do provide updates, once a week, or if we need to talk about that, that's probably a next video. But
sure.
But during the turnover, we are actively going through all of the properties and making sure that they're being shown within 24 hours of an inquiry, things like that.
Yep, definitely. So we've talked about the turnover process, getting information to the old tenants, refunding the old tenants within 30 days. That's the legal requirement according to our lease. We've talked about preventative maintenance items, regular turnover costs, showing the property, marketing, all of that kind of stuff. This is our heaviest lifting.
Sure.
But many PM companies out there will charge vacancy fees.
Yeah.
They'll charge marketing fees. They'll charge lease up fees. We don't do that.
No.
Why? This is the hardest part of our job. So why aren't we charging for those services?
I mean, I like to say we have like skin in the game too. So if, you know, our owner clients aren't making money, neither are we. So there's a sense of urgency, and it kind of is all hands on deck by all the people in the office that really make the wheels turn and get those vacancies rented as soon as possible.
Yeah,
So,
skin in the game is a good analogy, because that sense of urgency, we want to fill a vacancy with a high quality tenant.
Exactly.
Just as much as the owner does.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Let us know if you have any questions or follow-ups. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.